Darren, Cerro Blanco project in Guatemala. Your company Bluestone is an emerging gold producer. Maybe you can give us a little bit of an overview. What are you doing there?
It's a great opportunity, and in fact, Bluestone Resources is a relatively new company. We've been really in its current form for about 18 months. Last year, we acquired the Cerro Blanco gold project and Mita geothermal projects from Goldcorp by way of an acquisition. And since that time, really over the last 16, 17 months, we've been very focused on the feasibility study for the gold project, which is due to be completed here over the next 2 to 3 months.
That far advanced already with the feasibility.
Yeah, it's a really unique opportunity because Goldcorp and the predecessor company Glamis had invested more than $200 million in this asset. It's quite advanced, both through the drilling, the studies, underground development, water treatment plant, and in addition to that, it's actually permitted. So it's permitted for an underground mine. It's high grade, high margin. And really what we're doing right now is bringing that all together with a feasibility study with a view on getting that project financed and starting construction later this next year.
Fantastic. So we were talking already about the feasibility. The numbers are not out yet, but we have the numbers from the PEA as we see here in the background. Maybe you can elaborate a bit, because what I saw when I looked at it, like $490 AISC all-in sustaining costs. This is outstanding.
It's pretty unique, and I think even more so unique because of not only because of the grade, but also because of the advanced state of the asset. Typically today, you're 10 to 15 years from discovery through to production. We're talking 10 to 15 months, really. So quite a unique opportunity. You're right. I mean, the grade obviously drives great margin.
Grade is 10 grams plus.
It's about 10 grams per ton, a low sulfidation epithermal system, 1.2 million ounces. But with the updated resource that we put out here a couple of months ago, it's now another 350,000 ounces of inferred, so the total resource is closer to 1.6 million ounces. But you're right, this falls squarely into the first quartile of production, producing 100 to 150,000 ounces of gold over a probably 8 to 10 year mine life. And it's a great kind of project for Bluestone. This is a project that is going to make money and margin regardless of what the gold price is.
Exactly. I mean, gold price is also one thing. I mean, we are today at 1,210, something like that. You have, like, let's call it $500 cost. Yeah. So you would make a fortune. But we just found out that the World Gold Council published like $1,290 average cost per ounce. So that's a nightmare with that gold price for them.
Mining is a capital intensive business, and so when you look at really the all-in cost, the cash cost plus the sustaining cost to operate mines today, often there's a lot of capital involved. And so whether the gold price is 1,000 or 1,200 or 900, this has got great margin. And in fact, a key part for us, obviously, this is an asset that Goldcorp had in their portfolio. It was relatively small. It wasn't a key focus for them, and thus they looked to divest it. We were fortunate to be able to pick that up. But in its first full year of production, likely 2021, this asset should generate as much free cash flow in its first full year of production as the market cap today. It's not going to stay that way.
Yeah, and we saw your production profile for the first 4 years is approximately 140,000 ounces. Then it's a little bit dropping, as we see here in the back also. But I think you are, able to fill that up a bit, right? With exploration and other possibilities.
These systems tend to keep on giving. They require drilling. When we arrived last year, again, because the asset hadn't been a key focus for a few years, when we hired a geology team and brought them into the project, it was the first time there'd been a geologist on the site in 4.5 years. Wow. Now, over the last 12 to 15 months, our focus has been on really the feasibility study drilling, so infill drilling. It was a pleasant surprise to be able to see to actually increase the resource. We weren't really focusing on that, but we were able to do that by adding the additional 360,000 ounces of inferred. I think that's indicative of the quality of the asset.
Absolutely.
And no doubt, I mean, with the focus being on the feasibility study, getting it out and being able to demonstrate that we've got a very viable, robust project that is going to generate good margins, good opportunities, not only for the company, but of course drive opportunities for local communities and of course our partners in Guatemala. But also, in fact, then start to focus on the exploration potential as we look to grow.
Fantastic. So we talk about 2 years to go in production, right? What is the path? You said feasibility now, then probably project finance?
Sure. So yeah, we'd expect to see the feasibility study out probably early next year, to the early 2019 in the first quarter. We're already starting and advancing discussions with various different parties as far as the project finance, both the traditional banks, along with private equity, streaming groups, etc. It's a bit of a rarity, I think, to find a project that has this sort of quick payback, this sort of margins, and is permitted. So often today you can get to this stage, complete a feasibility study and still have 3 to 5 years of permitting, around the world. We've got a permit here, and in fact, as you would have seen from the presentation, there's already 3.5 kilometers of underground development. So we're starting to focus now then on the project financing. We expect to have that in place by the middle of next year. And that's right. I mean, as we exit 2020 and early into 2021, this is a project that should be producing gold.
Fantastic. But you have also another really unique feature, and I would say this makes you one of the first real green mines in the planet. You have a geothermal project also, which you can bring up, which will produce the power for the mine. You probably can sell power into the grid. How did you come on that?
Yeah, it is unique, and to be honest, I didn't know much about geothermal 18 months ago when I got involved here, but as far as I'm aware, it's possibly the first gold mine that could be zero carbon footprint in the future.
Fantastic.
And really what this is that Goldcorp previously had invested about $60 million on targeting a geothermal reserve to the east of the project. This was at a time when both the oil price was much higher, and also the power grid was further away. For our purposes with regards to the gold mine, right now our assumption is that we will just actually have a power line about 8 kilometers away. So we're keeping it very plain vanilla, so to speak. But the potential here is to produce some or maybe all of the power through geothermal methods for the mine in the future. In Guatemala, currently about 35% of the power within that country comes from carbon. And of course, there's a continued push not only in Guatemala, but globally to go more renewable. And obviously geothermal demonstrates or provides the opportunity to increase the baseload towards renewable energy. And so it's very much in line with Guatemalan government priorities. And we'll continue to evaluate that as we move forward into 2019.
Fantastic. I think we have to do one short look on your shareholder base, because we are in Geneva here.
Right.
And you have a very prominent shareholder here from the Geneva Lake.
Yes, we've had very good support from the Landin family. And so last year, when the initial capital raising was done for Bluestone to acquire the asset and really put us in a position where we could move forward with that feasibility study, which we're really in the midst of looking to finish up, the Landin family became our largest holder with 36% interest. On top of that, CD Capital out of the UK is a 17% owner. And in fact, when you add Goldcorp, who retained a 5% equity ownership and management, about 65% of the stock actually sits in 4 hands. So we've been...
Management shares, what, 9%?
About 9%.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So, I think it demonstrates really the commitment across the board. You add that to some of the institutional investors that have come in last year and have continued to be supportive. I think we all see the same thing, right? It's very rare to come across a project that has that sort of head start, that has the permit in place, that has the margins and really the opportunity to generate very significant returns for shareholders, stakeholders, government partners, local communities. And so, we're in a formidable position, and I'm very confident that as we move forward into next year, we'll get this project financed and get it moving.
Absolutely. I see it the same way. Well, Darren, thank you very much, and all the best for you. And of course, we want to hear an update then. Financing done, feasibility done, or let's say the other way around. And go in production, because the world needs some gold.
Lots of hard work ahead. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, there was Darren Klinck, the CEO of Bluestone Resources, and you heard it. The Landin family is holding 36%, Goldcorp 5%, management 9%, CD Capital 17%. Those are real perfect numbers. This is a very solid and stable shareholder base, and the project speaks for itself. Approximately $500 AISC, approximately $200 million in capex. This is really manageable, to be honest, and a approximately 9 to 10 year mine life already, with a great potential for exploration. That's the next gold producer from Guatemala. I'm your host, Jochen Steiger, from Commodity TV in partnership with Dukascopy TV. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Geneva.